the winds are picking up to tropical storm force winds, at least the gusts, and that is expected. That was in the forecast, and I do expect even stronger gusts from 9 until midnight at least, maybe into the early morning hours. Right now we have winds at 60 miles an hour, the gusts in Okeechobee at the airport, and there's certainly room for stronger gusts because the winds are coming in from the south and slamming across the lake, and I have a chance to really speed up. Typically, especially in hurricanes, we get these winds that come across lakes and ponds and open areas. They just don't have trees and vegetation to slow down the winds, and they'll actually do more damage when they hit the opposite either riverbank or shoreline, and in this case it's Okeechobee and the northern side of Lake Okeechobee. And we also have a new extreme wind warning that has been issued for around Sebring. That's because the tenacious northwestern quadrant of this fading hurricane has some very strong winds with it. Now this won't affect our area, we'll obviously watch it, but at this point it should stay well to the northwest and eventually move up toward Kissimmee and fade off after that. But to say the least, it's impressive that we're getting an extreme wind warning so far inland from the coastline, and especially after it made landfall at 3 this afternoon. The wind 76 miles an hour just a few minutes ago, now 74 in Sebring, so those wind gusts are staying up. Now 56 in Okeechobee, they were at 60 just a few minutes ago, and a mix of 20, 30, 40, almost 50 mile an hour wind gusts along the coastline. A little bit stronger on the Treasure Coast and Palm Beach County, but obviously a gusty night. The tornado watch still in effect for the Treasure Coast. It's actually been extended into, I believe, 5 in the morning. And we have that extreme wind warning. That's this area here. So it's not in our viewing area, but coming close or up against the northwestern tip of Okeechobee County. And that extends all the way down toward the Fort Myers area where we saw the landfall earlier today. So that's an extreme wind warning. Those are issued. There's a very special bulletin that rarely is issued from the Weather Service. That means winds could exceed 115 miles an hour. And that'll be in effect for at least a couple of hours. And that's all because of that northwestern quadrant, that the bright reds here. I mean, this is really holding together where the entire storm is really starting to disintegrate. There's a lot of dry air. There's hardly any inner core left on the southern side of this. I mean, you can't even make out what was a 155 mile an hour hurricane just a few hours ago. You also see it showing up on the satellite loop for the last few hours too. It's just really weakening. It's lost that warm water of the Gulf of Mexico, which really feeds into this hurricane. So it is expected to weaken to a Category 1 and then move across the state up toward the Space Coast and reemerge tomorrow afternoon into the Atlantic Ocean, and then another landfall. That'll happen on Friday or Saturday as it moves up around Charleston as a tropical storm and a big rainmaker at the same time. So a big track here the next 4 to 5 days. Now there is a hurricane warning for Okeechobee County and back to the west. This is all hurricane warned area with hurricane force winds are possible, and a tropical storm warning for Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast that'll continue at least through midnight and likely into part of tomorrow, because we expect the winds will stay up even through sunrise and after that. As I said, the strongest winds in red here, 74 miles an hour stronger, stay to the north. That's exactly where we have that wind warning, extreme wind warning right now. And then we're dealing almost all of the area with the 40 to 60 mile an hour winds, but briefly we could see stronger gusts across Okeechobee County, and that's why we have the hurricane warning. Now the timeline here, there's 7:30 tomorrow night, so just starting to lift north, and those are the winds at 40 miles an hour stronger. So it's going to take a little while before we start to see an improvement with the weather in that area. And it looks like as it fades off, we'll start to see gradual trend to a little drier weather. And as far as our probability of seeing hurricane force winds, now less than 10%. They were up around 10 to 15 yesterday. That's concerning. Because we certainly don't want hurricane force winds in our area, but you can see most areas are between pretty much nothing to about 4 and 5%.